All right, guys, back with another episode of the Better by Numbers podcast presented by Life Metrics at the third annual Roundtable of Longevity Clinics. Here, I'm with Jesse with Longevity Health. I got that right?
That's right.
So, Jesse, what are you doing in the longevity space?
So I run a virtual longevity clinic. So we have got a longevity-focused executive physical that's a bunch of testing and screening and diagnostics, and then we give people a team. We call it a personal longevity board. So it's a doctor, an exercise physiologist, a strength and conditioning coach, a nutritionist, and so they're all help manage your care together. And we are actually building an AI doctor that will replace that whole team and deliver it to people for pennies on the dollar.
Wow. Wow. Okay, you got to walk me through that. So, like, you have teams that you assign to people. And how do you find these doctors? How do you find all
So let me just take a step back here.
Right.
So, I got into this space because I had a personal interest, a personal passion. I've got a family history of heart disease. Both of my grandfathers died of a heart attack before the age of 50. So I was always really motivated to be active. And when I found the longevity space, I was like, oh my God, this is the way to do it. This is the way, I can live longer and healthier. But as I started searching around, I got confused. There's a bunch of people saying different things. My doctor was really dismissive. And I started looking for a concierge practice that I could join. But they were like $100,000. And most of them had some bias, like they were trying to sell me something. And I realized, though, that actually the core of what they were doing could be delivered by an AI agent, help you figure out what's right for you and then help you implement it. And so it didn't have to cost $100,000. It could be as low as $10 a month, right? So we have this vision. We want to help 1 billion people live to 100 in good health for pennies on the dollar, right? And so the first thing we wanted to do is take this $100,000 a year experience and say, hey, could we deliver that for $10,000? So that's the first product we built. We actually call it a billionaire bundle because it's modeled after what the ultra wealthy are doing, but for much less.
So how was that successful? Was that a successful launch?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah. So we've been around for about 2 years doing that. And now we're into sort of a hybrid phase where there's an AI agent that people talk to, but there's a doctor behind the scenes that's reviewing everything. Okay. And so that takes the price. We start at $100,000, down to $10,000, down to $1,000. And eventually, I believe that we will be talking to AI doctors, mostly for primarily getting our healthcare from AI doctors, not from humans, and that those doctors will be able to prescribe medication. They'll be able to order lab work. They'll be able to make referrals, all of this. This is the future. And so when that comes, we can take the cost from that used to be $100,000, which we took to $10,000 and then $1,000 down to $100 or $10 a month.
Wow. That's, man, that's like literally the future of a dream there. I'm wondering, I mean, not that this actually goes into longevity, but like, how would that affect insurance? Do you think
you won't need, well, I mean,
you won't need it at that point.
You might still need insurance for your procedures.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're a little further off from like AI actually being able to deliver your procedure. Obviously medication is still going to cost money. There's IP around that. So, I think that you may still need insurance, but the thing is that today your insurance does not cover longevity. It doesn't cover a lot of prevention, right? It covers some, but it's very limited. And so people have to pay out of pocket anyways. Actually, that's why I believe that the best way to build an AI doctor is to start with longevity, because you get a holistic view. People in the longevity space are very motivated to give you all the data so that you can have a real holistic view. Yeah. And people in the longevity space are used to paying out of pocket. So they're ready to spend money out of pocket for the right solution. And so that way you don't have to mess with insurance. You don't have to worry about that, because if you're building an AI doctor in an insurance space where you're dealing with payers, you're really focused on reimbursement rates and billing codes and optimizing efficiency and all that. You're not actually focused on delivering better care and delivering building a doctor, an AI doctor that can deliver that care. And so you start by starting in the longevity space. We have a huge advantage to be able to build something that's really powerful. And I just believe that medicine 3.0 is going to be the standard. We're moving in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. So does that like, I feel like, what's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to in the next 5 years? Like, what do you think? Where do you think this is going to go? Like, how far do you think this is going to go? Like, a virtual AI doctor, you think everybody's going to have it? You think it's going to be all over in every country? Do you think it'll only be in Western countries? Like,
actually, I think that Western countries like the United States will probably be later to adopt, because there is a regulatory issue, and there's certainly a lot of entrenched entrants. So I think that will take time, and it won't be, one standard across all geographies, but eventually, yes, I do believe everyone will have an AI doctor. What makes me most excited, I think there's two things. So first is that the sort of this longevity movement becoming the standard of care all around the world, focused on prevention, right? Focused on, sort of thinking much longer, more long-term than, our current healthcare system does. And then having the resources to actually help people to figure that out and implement a strategy that has a lot more lifestyle. One of the challenges with, lifestyle medicine, which is incredibly powerful, a big part of longevity, is that you and I have different lifestyles.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to write a standard. It's like, 150 active minutes a week or 75 vigorous minutes, but that's kind of vague, right? And, or like a food pyramid, or eat, kind of whole foods, or, whatever, limit, processed foods.
Yeah.
And, it's you and I should have different diet. We should have a different exercise regimen. We need a different sleep protocol. We need a different way to manage stress, right? And so standard of care guidelines can't deliver that. The way to do it is with a really highly skilled team that spends a ton of time with you. And that's what we're doing in our clinic. That's what costs $10,000 a year today. But AI can do that, can spend a ton of time with you, can make it highly personalized, can be incredibly expert driven. And now you can have a customized plan that's actually achievable for you with your lifestyle and your goals and your genetics and your biology and all of that. That used to mean that you'd have to spend all this time with clinicians.
With all these experts just monitoring everything on you. And now you can do this like in your everyday lifestyle at home. Well,
exactly.
I don't want to say now, but in the future you'll be able to. How much longer do you think it'll be like you have an AI doctor that is very accurate with all of these measurements?
Okay,
like,
so there's 3 challenges to the AI doctor vision. Number 1 is the actual technology. Number 2 is the consumer adoption, and number 3 is regulatory. I actually think that the technology is going to win first. It's going to get there first. It's moving incredibly fast, and the idea, I think that there's a high bar. It's sort of like a self-driving car. It has to be 10x better than your standard doctor, because people are going to be naturally skeptical in order to be able to move into the second, consumer adoption. But I think we may already be there in terms of being better than the average doctor, right? And if you think about your experience going to a primary care physician, getting 12 minutes, not really getting any depth on you, not really talking much about lifestyle, right? Focusing on things like BMI, which are totally out of date. Like there's so many things
that's true.
We're doing in medicine that are so out of date that an AI agent can just leapfrog that. And so I think we're very close on that. Consumer adoption, it's not going to be evenly distributed, right? So like my parents may never want to see an AI doctor.
Yeah.
My kids may never see a human doctor. I mean, they have seen human doctors,
but
their kids may never see a human doctor, right? It's just, I use the same analogy of self-driving cars. Like my parents don't want to be in a self-driving car. My kids may never learn to drive, right? And so that, I think the market adoption is going to happen. It's going to take time. And then regulatory is going to be different across different geographies. I do think the United States is probably going to, lag behind, but there are a lot of other countries that are very forward thinking on this. And I think we'll start to see those proof points. And then once they have the results, we'll have no choice but to adopt it.
Yep. Wow. What are some major takeaways that you've been taking here at the Roundtable?
Well, I think there's two things. One is, the standard of longevity becoming more mainstream is so clear to me, and I hear it and echoes in this building. However, on the flip side, I don't hear this view that doctors are, we're not going to be spending much time with human doctors, that there's going to be a standard of an AI doctor. So I haven't heard that. I think there's still a lot of skepticism in the medical community that AI can replace the majority of what human doctors are doing. And there is definitely some, real nuance and art to, connecting with a patient, spending time with them, listening, all of that. But I actually think that AI in many ways can be better than the average doctor on doing many of those things. I think there has to be some paradigm shifts where, people start to trust AI. But I'm not hearing that here. I have heard, a number of people say, AI will never replace doctors. It's going to be, an accelerant to human potential, not a replacement. And I just don't agree with that.
I wonder if the skepticism comes from like, how accurate do you think AI can be when it's taking these measurements on a human being, like on a regular day. How accurate can it be? Not. I don't think it'd be less accurate than a human, but I guess that's the skepticism. Like, hey, how
it has
can
to be
monitor?
10x more accurate.
Yeah.
Is my view, right? It's the same. Self-driving car is 10x safer than a human-driven car, and yet most, there's a lot of skepticism.
People
Most
still
people
trust the
like,
human, right? Yeah, right.
But you got to get into it and
Right.
try it, and once you try it and you realize like the experience, then I think things start to change, and I think the same thing will happen with the AI doctor. I think that it's got to be 10x. I don't think we're 10x there yet, but I do believe we may be already better than the average doctor. I think the skepticism and the correct skepticism is not around accuracy, it's around empathy and human connection.
That's what it is,
right?
Okay, yeah.
So there you do get this connection with your doctor, but the flip side of that is that trust in the medical profession has been declining.
A lot,
right?
Yeah.
So the bar to get over to be able to trust, and people are already doing it. They're going to ChatGPT, they're going to Gemini, right? They're going to these models already to get medical advice because they can't get the time with their doctors, and their doctors are stuck in this standard of care view versus a longevity view. And so that's where, if you can go to a doctor, or you can go to an AI agent, and you can say, what would Peter Attia say about this blood work? Right? Just a simple prompt. And just doing that, I guarantee you're going to get something that is more aligned with this sort of a longevity movement, a medicine 3.0 movement, than you would going to an average, medicine 2.0 general practitioner.
The doctors become a little more outdated, man. It's true. Like there's a lot of like misdiagnosis happening as well. Like even in my family, getting misdiagnosed, like it's unfortunately it's not completely uncommon. So
there's misdiagnosis and then there's short-term thinking.
Yeah.
Right. And waiting for disease to take hold before you address it. That just drives me crazy. It's like, oh, well, you're pre-diabetic. Let's wait and see if you become diabetic.
Right.
Why would we wait? Right.
Why don't we try to prevent it before it happens? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, lastly, where can we find you, man?
longevityhealth.me. That's our website. So you can find more information about, our programs there. And, if you're interested, you can reach out.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us. All right. That'll be that's wrap up on the episode of Better by the Numbers, presented by Life Metrics. Thank you for joining us.
Cool.
Dude.
Thanks.